The cabin sits nestled among ancient pines, their shadows stretching like elongated fingers across the forest floor. I've been here 3 days now, seeking solitude to finish my photography portfolio, a collection I've titled Wilderness Whispers. The isolation is exactly what I needed after months of city chaos and gallery rejections. My ritual each morning is the same: coffee on the porch as dawn breaks, watching mist curl between tree trunks like spectral dancers. Then I venture into the woods with my Hasselblad. The weight of it against my chest is familiar as my own heartbeat. Today feels different somehow. The air hangs heavier, charged with something I can't name. I dismiss it as barometric pressure before a storm, though the sky remains cloudless. I set up my tripod near a small creek where light filters through the canopy in dusty shafts. The viewfinder frames a perfect composition: water over moss-covered stones, the forest receding into shadow beyond. As I adjust the aperture, something flickers at the edge of my vision. I look up, but there's only stillness. "Just a bird," I mutter. I expose 3 frames, the mechanical click and whir of the camera oddly muffled in the dense air. When I reach to advance the film, my fingers brush something sticky on the camera's body. Dark residue, like tar but thinner, clings to my fingertips. I don't recall touching anything that could leave such a mark. I wipe it on my jeans and continue shooting until midday, when hunger drives me back to the cabin. Inside, I hang my jacket and place my camera on the kitchen table before washing my hands. The cabin's previous owner left behind an impressive collection of photography books. I'd been working my way through them each evening: histories of landscape photography, technical manuals from the 1970s, and collections of work by masters I've long admired. After lunch, I decide to develop yesterday's role in the small dark room I've improvised in the bathroom. The familiar chemical smell is comforting as I work in the dim red light, hanging negatives to dry. But as the images emerge in the developer bath, my breath catches. In the background of 3 frames, shots I'd taken of an empty clearing, stands a figure. Indistinct, blurred, as if in motion despite the fast shutter speed I'd used to freeze the scene. It appears to be looking directly at the camera. "That's impossible," I whisper, examining the negatives more closely. The clearing had been empty. I would have noticed someone there, wouldn't I? I hang the disturbing images with the others and try to dismiss them as a light leak or processing error, though I know my technique is flawless. Outside, the afternoon sun has disappeared behind a bank of clouds that weren't there earlier. The forest has fallen silent. No birdsong, no rustling leaves despite the wind I can see moving the treetops. That night, I dream of the dark room. In my dream, I'm developing photos I don't remember taking. Each image shows the cabin from outside, looking in through different windows. In the final photo, a figure stands at my bedroom window, staring out at the camera. I am the figure, but my face is wrong, eyes too wide, smile too fixed. I wake with a gasp, the red digits of my alarm clock burning in the darkness. Something feels off in the room. A subtle shift in the air pressure, as if the door had just closed. I strain my ears, but hear nothing beyond the usual cabin sounds. The refrigerator's hum, the occasional creak of settling wood. Yet I can't shake the sensation of being observed. I switch on the lamp and my heart stutters. My camera, which I'd left on the kitchen table, now sits on the nightstand beside my bed. The lens is pointed directly at my pillow. I must have brought it in before bed, I say aloud to comfort myself, though I have no memory of doing so. When I pick it up, that same dark residue coats my fingers. The film advance lever has been moved. Someone has taken a photo. Sleep eludes me for the remainder of the night. At first light, I brew coffee with shaking hands and try to rationalize. Perhaps I sleepwalked. It wouldn't be the first time stress has manifested in strange behaviors. I decide to develop the mysterious exposure, more to prove to myself that there's a logical explanation than anything else. In the dark room, I work mechanically, trying to ignore how the chemicals smell different today. Earthier, with an underlying scent like copper in wet soil. When the image appears, my coffee mug slips from nerveless fingers and shatters on the tile floor. It's me, asleep in bed, shot from above at an impossible angle. The perspective is wrong, as if the photographer stood on the ceiling. My face in sleep looks waxy, corpse-like, and there, at the edge of the frame, is what appears to be a finger, too long, too pale, its joint bent at an unnatural angle. I back out of the darkroom, leaving the print floating in the developer tray. The cabin suddenly feels like a trap. I need air, space, rationality. Outside, the forest is shrouded in mist, despite the morning sun. I walk rapidly down the path toward the creek, my breath forming clouds that linger too long before dissipating. The woods seem different today. The trees closer together than I remember, their bark darker, slick with moisture, though it hasn't rained. I reach the clearing where the figure had appeared in my photographs. It looks ordinary now, sunlight dappling the ground, wildflowers nodding in the breeze. I raise my camera. I'd grabbed it instinctively before leaving the cabin, and peer through the viewfinder. The world through the lens is wrong. The trees bend inward as if leaning to look at me. The shadows pool unnaturally, too dark for mid-morning. And there, just at the edge of the frame, something moves. I lower the camera with a jerk. The clearing appears normal again, but now I notice the silence. No birds call. No insects buzz. Even the breeze has died, leaving the air unnaturally still. "Hello," I call, immediately regretting it. My voice falls flat, as if the forest itself absorbs the sound. The response comes not as words, but as a subtle shift in the quality of light. The sun dims momentarily, as if something vast has passed between it and the earth. A cold sensation trickles down my spine. I turn to head back to the cabin and freeze. 20 feet away stands a deer, perfectly still, watching me with eyes that reflect nothing. Its hide is matte black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. As I stare, it tilts its head at an impossible angle, nearly upside down. Not a deer, never was. I raise the camera instinctively, photographer's reflex. Through the viewfinder, the creature is gone. I lower the camera. It remains, watching me with those lightless eyes. The camera. It sees the world as it is, not as I'm being shown. I back away slowly, camera clutched to my chest like a talisman. When I reach the cabin, I slam the door and lock it, though I know with bone-deep certainty that locks mean nothing to whatever waits in the woods. I grab my laptop, desperate to connect with the outside world, but the screen shows only my reflection, pale, wide-eyed, terrified. Behind me in the reflection, something moves. I whirl around. Nothing there. Outside, the forest has disappeared behind a wall of mist that presses against the glass like something solid, searching for a way in. On the kitchen table, where I know I didn't place it, sits an old book from the shelf. It's open to a page with a woodcut illustration of the forest surrounding this very cabin, dated 1925. The text beside it describes a peculiar quality to photographs taken within these woods, and warns of exposures that reveal what should remain hidden. The final paragraph chills me. Those who capture its image invite its gaze. Those who call out invite its voice. It comes through apertures, the camera's eye, the human eye, any opening through which light may pass. As I read these words, every light in the cabin dims, then brightens to an unbearable intensity before going out completely. In the sudden darkness, my camera, sitting on the table, advances its film with a sound like dry bones clicking together. Again, capturing images in the darkness. "What do you want?" I whisper. The camera's shutter clicks one final time in response. I know I should run, drive away, never look back. Instead, I find myself moving toward the darkroom, drawn by a compulsion I can't resist. I need to see what it's showing me. The darkroom chemicals glow faintly with a light of their own, illuminating the space in a sickly red that pulses like a heartbeat. I work in a trance, developing the film my camera has exposed without my intervention. The images emerge one by one. Each shows the cabin from a different era, weathered and ancient, new and pristine, burned to ashes, rebuilt again. The final image is different. It shows me standing in the darkroom developing these very photographs. But behind me looms a presence, condensed into a form almost, but not quite, human. Its hand rests on my shoulder. Its face is bent next to mine as if whispering secrets. I should scream, but my breath has frozen in my lungs. Because I can feel it now. The weight on my shoulder, the cold breath against my ear. "I see you," I whisper, the words emerging unbidden. The lights return with a sudden surge that blinds me momentarily. When my vision clears, the cabin appears normal. Outside, the forest stands innocent in afternoon sunlight. My camera sits on the table, ordinary and unthreatening, but the developed photographs remain, proof that what I experienced was real. And now I understand the true purpose of my Wilderness Whispers collection. These aren't casual photographs, they're my marks in the pages of history. Tonight, I'll venture into the forest with my camera. It wants to be seen, to be captured, to be given form through my lens, and I will oblige. I only need one perfect shot.